On August 10, 2026, silver is emerging from the dust of uncertainty. There is a quiet, almost sacred rule etched into the bones of commodity markets. When the US dollar flexes, silver kneels. For decades, the US dollar index DXY and the price of silver have danced in careful opposition, one rising as the other falls, bound together by the simple arithmetic of a dollar-denominated asset. But every so often, the music changes. Both climb at once. The dollar strengthens and silver surges right beside it. And in that strange, synchronized ascent, something far more interesting is happening than mere price movement. The old inverse correlation has fractured, the regime has shifted, and the market is whispering a warning in a language most investors have forgotten how to hear. When silver rallies into the teeth of a strengthening dollar, it tells you that something idiosyncratic, something urgent, is pulling buyers toward the metal with a force that overwhelms the usual foreign exchange headwind. The dollar's gravitational pull is still there, still pressing down on every commodity priced in greenbacks, but silver buyers have simply stopped caring. They are not shopping for a bargain dictated by currency swings. They are reaching for the metal because they believe they must, and no amount of dollar strength will talk them out of it. To understand why, you have to look at what is reshaping the psychology of the trade. In a normal risk-off episode, capital floods into the dollar as the world's reserve safe haven. Liquidity tightens, fear rises, and the greenback soars, while everything else, silver included, gets sold. But in the regime we are describing, that script has been torn up. Investors are no longer choosing between the dollar and hard assets. They are buying both. They are treating physical silver not as a speculative commodity, but as an independent store of value, a hedge against the slow, grinding erosion of fiat currencies and the unpredictable shrapnel of geopolitical conflict. The dollar protects them from one set of fears. Silver protects them from another. And increasingly, those fears are not the same. Beneath the financial markets, a very physical story is unfolding. Silver is no longer just a monetary metal. It is woven into the wiring of the modern world. Photovoltaic cells, semiconductors, electric grid infrastructure, the conductive veins of a global energy transition. Industrial demand has become structural, relentless, and largely insensitive to a few percentage points of currency fluctuation. At the same time, mine supply has struggled to keep pace, producing persistent deficits that no amount of paper market positioning can wish away. When the physical market is this tight, traders look at the FX penalty imposed by a stronger dollar and shrug. The fundamentals, they decide, are strong enough to absorb it. The squeeze is real, and real squeezes do not negotiate with exchange rates. Then there is the inflation question, and it is perhaps the most insidious driver of all. Imagine a Federal Reserve holding rates high because US inflation refuses to cool, a scenario that keeps the dollar elevated against the euro, the yen, and a basket of weaker currencies. Nominal yields look attractive on the surface, but if inflation expectations are running even hotter, real yields quietly flatten or slip into negative territory. In that environment, silver becomes a dual-purpose instrument. It hedges against the inflation the Fed cannot tame, while the dollar simultaneously gains ground against foreign currencies that are in even worse shape. The two moves are not contradictory. They are symptoms of the same disease viewed from different angles. And beyond America's borders, the dynamic takes on a more desperate character. For buyers in Europe, Asia, or emerging markets, a rising DXY is not an abstract macroeconomic indicator. It is a direct assault on their purchasing power, a signal that their own currencies are leaking value by the day. Faced with that slow hemorrhage, households, institutions, and central banks alike rush into silver as a bulwark, snapping up physical ounces before their local money buys even less tomorrow. Their demand pours into the global spot market and lifts prices in dollar terms, creating the paradox of a metal rising precisely because the currency it is priced in is getting stronger. The dollar's strength in this case is not a headwind for silver. It is the very engine driving people toward it. The contrast between the two regimes is stark once you lay it side by side. In the standard inverse world, silver is a passive, dollar-denominated commodity, its price largely a function of Federal Reserve policy and currency mechanics. Traders watch the DXY the way sailors watch the tide, adjusting positions with every shift in rate expectations. Silver's identity is reactive, derivative, subordinate to the forex market. But in the positive correlation regime, that identity transforms completely. Silver becomes an active macro hedge, a critical strategic commodity, an asset people hold not because the currency math works in their favor, but because they have deep, almost visceral conviction in its physical scarcity and its role as a preserver of wealth. The market stops asking, "What will the dollar do to silver's price?" and starts asking, "What is happening in the world that makes people need silver regardless of what the dollar does?" That shift in the question is the shift that matters most. Because when the answer stops being about currency mechanics and starts being about systemic risk, stagflation, and the thinning margins of global supply, you are no longer trading a commodity. You are reading the market's diagnosis of the world itself. And when the dollar and silver rise together, that diagnosis is rarely a reassuring one. If you find this video helpful, please like and subscribe.